one of the big lessons of the week is that there's an equation for every single line. You can think of them just like codes for the line. There's symbolic representation of it. Your job is to go back and forth between the graph and the equation. So if you're given one of these graphs, then here's how you're going to turn it into its equation. A couple things to keep in mind before we get into it. Y and x in the equation, they really stay the same. They're going to be placeholders. We're going to describe what those do during class next week. But the most important thing is that we have these other two letters, m and b. M, as you know from last week, is representing the slope of a line, and the b is representing here, this is maybe new information, the b is representing the y-intercept of a line. The y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. We have two examples shown on the screen here. The y-intercept for the graph on your left is -2 because that's where it crosses the y-axis. For the one on the right, it'll be 3. So starting with the first graph on the left, we then need to know what the slope is. And to find the slope, we're going to want to look at any 2 points that are really exactly on the coordinate grid. -2 actually is one of those places because it's exactly on the y-axis and you see it lines up right on the corners of the grid lines. I see another point that we can use up there as well. To find the slope, you count rise over run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is the rise. The run is 1, 2. Those are both positive directions, up and to the right. This will be a positive slope of 7/2. So gathering all the information we need from this graph to make an equation, we know that the b value, the y-intercept, is -2, and the slope, rise over run, is 7/2. All we have to do to find the equation is just plug these into the y equals mx plus b form that you see written above. The equation of this line is y equals 7/2x minus 2. So you might think, okay, wait, hold on, the equation has a plus sign in it, why is it suddenly a minus? The answer is that we're actually plugging a negative number into it. The b value is -2, that's why that appears negative as a minus sign. The second example has a y-intercept of 3, so we can kind of label that immediately. We also need to know the slope here. I see another point we can use right there because it's exactly on the grid lines where you see they're lining up. It's exactly a corner of one of the squares. To find this slope, I'll go right to left. Up 1 is +1 for the rise. Left 3, left is a negative direction. So that'll be a -3 for that slope. And since, of course, slope is rise over run, 1 divided by -3. I'm going to make the whole fraction negative because that's the best way to represent it. But that came from 1 divided by -3. And then we can form the equation of this line. Y is equal to -1/3 x plus 3, given the form that we had above. And there you have it. Those are 2 examples of going from line to equation. We're going to discuss using these equations a lot more next week, so hang tight on kind of what these are going to represent, what these mean, how to use them. But this is how you convert. So hope you have a great weekend. See you soon.